here we go. This is Jim the Keys bartender coming to you from Key Largo with Jenna and Tyler Kelly.
Ooh,
right
it's
here.
a hot one today.
You know what?
Hello, everyone.
I wasn't thinking about the heat. And but that the.
But
I was just thinking about we missed the music. We didn't play the music,
Yeah, so
and we
it
didn't get a
seems
chance to
weird.
talk over it. We didn't get to, and I think the air of amateurish, being amateurish about
Coming to an end now.
maybe, hopefully not. And I just figured out that, and I'm going to have our production company, 43 Keys. They wanted to look at they were interested in how we were doing my sound and wondering what I was doing.
Yes.
And I was fucking up, the sound. I don't have a lot of skill with this. And there was this little button on the virtual soundboard that I used to, in order to get multiple mics, I used a soundboard going into a virtual soundboard. And we could do it. I could have just done it with, I didn't even need this. All I would need is, I wouldn't need the virtual soundboard, because with the soundboard, you can control it. But the virtual soundboard has this thing called auto ducking. I thought it would be more like auto ducting, like DUCTING, meaning auto ducting is when you duck things. I don't know what ducking means, but it seems like it controls the volume. It controls the highs and the lows, because I was doing little experiments
Ducks
today.
your voice down underneath the peak, right? So it's like duck.
I guess
Or it might equalize it, so if someone's talking really low, it might automatically raise the volume a little bit.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Like ducks it from the bottom.
Which
ducks
one?
it from
Which
the top.
mic are you on? Here?
I am number 2.
Number 2. Okay, everyone's on the same level, and you're close too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, today's episode, what are we calling? Shoes on the other hand.
The shoe.
Is on the other hand. Not
Okay.
a it's not a misnomer.
Right.
I meant it that way. In 6 days, I'll be in Poland,
Yes.
and it will be 1 o'clock in the morning. Probably won't be going to sleep yet.
That's got to be a tough
That's the day.
adjustment.
That's the day. I will have been there like 4 or 5 hours. And I'm getting prepared, and I'm doing all the checklists and stuff like that. But I think because the shoes, on the other hand, how fucked up I could be like today. When tourists come into town, and they're coming, you're just like, you have no idea where you're going, what you're doing. People come in. Remember, we say to them, can we order food here? And I'm going like this. It says restaurant. Our sign says restaurant and bar.
Right.
I said, besides being a hardware store, we also serve food. Maybe the Dutch people and a lot of Nordic people speak excellent English, so sometimes I don't detect. We had Swedes come in the other day, and their English is impeccable.
Yes.
Impeccable. And they... I couldn't detect if they were from Canada or anything like that, but they were from one of the Nordic countries, and they were asking the very same thing. Can we order food here? And I said,
But were they sitting at the bar?
We'd like to order food. I said, we specialize in that.
Were they sitting at the bar?
No, they were walking by. I'm the first person they see in the middle of the
when
day.
you first walk into the couch,
Yeah.
though, there's a huge, horseshoe shaped bar.
Yeah, and
So,
I'm
of
behind
course,
it,
right.
and I'm
And you're right
I
there.
yell at them.
And you're like,
Not yelling, greeting
welcome
them.
to the catch.
Welcome to the catch. Yeah, welcome.
Sit
Welcome to
wherever
the
you're
catch. Hello,
comfortable.
hi, folks. Thank you for coming in. Whatever. I believe it's up. Because I never understood these big grumpy guys. Like Holly could be grumpy.
Yeah.
But she's only 5'1".
Yeah,
Five,
no, she's-
if that.
We're 4'11".
4'11".
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She can get away with being a grump because that's almost like inviting.
It's because
then some
funny
people
to
are worried.
people.
They're funny, yeah.
When little
But-
people are mad, they think
Yeah,
it's
a big grumpy guy is not inviting. So I try to be. I could be kind of a psycho. Come on in. I want to make you into clothing. That's
Our lamp factory's in the back.
Oh,
Would you like
yeah,
to come see
Ed
it?
Gein reference there. But yeah, and then I'm going to be doing the same thing and not knowing the language. Over the last week, I've been last 2 days, I've been doing a crash courses in Polish. It's not working too well. I don't forget anything. I'm trying to do a full court press. I think, oh man, all I have to do is 40 hours worth of listening to these tapes.
Just don't let them teach you when you get there. Because what I've noticed is here, the Spanish-speaking staff that I have, they keep trying to teach me new Spanish words all the time, and then they teach me dirty ones, and they don't tell me what it really means. So
Well,
I actually said pubic hair out loud the other day.
I know, Calero, Punta, all that stuff. They get all
the basic ones you already know.
yeah.
But yeah, so one of the guys walked into my
Maricon.
office, and he was like, how's that credit app looking? And I'm like, oh, it still says pending. And then he said, pendejo.
Pinga.
And I was like,
pinga?
Pendejo? And I repeated it loudly.
Pendejo. Isn't that pendejo?
Pendejo. Right.
Yeah.
And I repeated it loudly to make sure that I was pronouncing it correctly. And one of the other guys went flying by my office. He's like, don't say that out loud. Don't say that
There's
out loud.
a song in my
I
Spain.
it meant pube.
There's a song that goes boyo, 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 boyo. And it's something, I think it's maybe like ass sex or something like that. But it's in spin class, and I play it, and all the Latinas...
To giggle.
They giggle, and they say, that's very dirty. And I say, well, you shouldn't read into it because we have multiple languages. I'm sure there's words you said that sound dirty to us, So, but I think it's maybe meant to sound that way. So whenever my employer comes up and says, you know what you're playing, I said, no, not really. I'm not fluent. I'm not fluent by it. And they go, well, the other songs you say actually say fuck in English. Well, I didn't really understand that either. What do you mean?
Just
what
play
does
the
that
dumb
mean?
card.
I just use it as the not as the act. We had this description before as a thing, but when we're traveling in another country, I'm trying to pick up some of it. And God, I lived with Abby for 6 years,
Right. And
5 years, or I dated her for. It's 10,
right.
and. You figure, I know a couple words. I can listen to, when I listen to their radio cast. No, the radio casts, because their conversations, they're very regional in their dialect, but I can pick up, they're very precise on the radio. Unlike me, you and Tyler will probably have a better enunciation when it comes. But when you listen to radio announcers in different countries, sometimes Spanish, they go way too fast.
Yeah, well,
and Polish, they don't go real slow either. But I pick it up.
But Spanish is
I kind of know when they're talking about someone
than like
when
Cuban Spanish.
Yeah,
Cuban Spanish and Dominican Spanish. Oh my God, that's quick.
What?
Dominican
Spanish?
So fast, and the Cubans, of course, fast.
Yeah,
but Spain Spanish is so much more proper and so much more articulate. You can just hear it. And they're slower when they speak. So I actually have an easier time understanding them than I do.
Yeah, and we get all different ones. We got Venezuelans.
Right.
We got the Dominican. Primarily.
Argentinian. We have a sales
Argentinian. Primarily down here is Cuban and Mexican. Mexican because of the restaurant.
A lot of Mexican down here.
Well, Mexicans because of people working in restaurants. It feels like a lot of Mexicans. A lot of Mexicans.
But,
at least in the restaurant industry.
I usually say
in the restaurant,
Puerto Rican and Dominican down here.
Where you're dealing with, yes.
And
the thing, but where I'm dealing with, I'm dealing with almost 50-50 with the
gotcha.
with the Mexicans and Cubans.
We do not serve food at Riva.
You do have the chili cook-off. You had that last year, right?
Yes, but we are not the ones that are making it.
No, but you hosted it. That kind of as a food venue.
It's kind of like this. I'm the co-host, but I'm not a Keys bartender.
Hey, listen, I'm sticking to the subject about traveling and stuff like that. Not necessarily about my trip.
Well,
it's not about my trip. I'm just saying this is what I experienced. I don't think this guy was my daughter. Today I had spent 3 hours arranging the rental car.
Yes, you said that.
And over there, they like driving manual.
Yep.
But I find it when you're in unfamiliar territory that it's really much better to have an automatic so you can concentrate on the road signs and the other things instead of trying to multitask. Especially when you don't know the language, so you got to watch the shapes,
learning new signs.
Yeah, knowing the signs. Yeah. The names of the towns.
Also, you don't.
And the towns, and remember I said the towns. The town I'm going to, it's pronounced Jeshov, but it starts with an R, and there's no V in it. and there's no F. So you look out, it looks like Rezikov. When people go in, it looks like Rezikov, Rezikow, but people pronounce it, in Polish it's pronounced Rzeszów. The hometown Abby is from, it starts with an S, a D, and a Z.
Yeah.
So to try to Sanjeshu.
Yeah.
I mean, when
I
could do it.
Like
you give it phonetically to me. I learned that from being when I was doing weddings, and if someone was from a Polynesian guy and they started saying, "Well, it's spelled this way," I said, "I don't want to know how it's spelled. I want you to spell it like it sounds."
Yeah.
Do you get that?
Yeah.
Well, now I'd ready that like they do on Facebook. They say pronounce like mine's Horan, or you can put Horan.
Right.
I don't care. Really don't.
My maiden name is spelled just like it sounds, but most people screw it up anyway.
How's it spelled?
Karjal.
JAL.
AHTI.
Oh, that's way too fucking long. Oh, I can't even.
See?
Okay. Yeah. Carlahan?
Cargelati.
Cargelati?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Cargelati.
So like LAHTI.
I see right after the end. I'm trying to remember all the letters.
But you're a
I can't
history
remember.
buff, and you're quite good with your geography too. So Lati, LAHTI.
Yeah, Italian.
No.
That Lati
Where
is
is
not
Lati?
Levant?
Lati is north of Helsinki.
Lati.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
My
Oh,
dad-
LOT with the double periods?
LAHTI.
With the double periods?
No.
Over it? No,
Lati.
okay.
No, my bio father was a white boy, so Finlander.
Oh.
So Cargelati is actually Finnish.
I noticed that in the World Cup and stuff like that. And I'm always amazed by when everyone talks about the Swedish bikini team and all that stuff, and they're blonde and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you go up to you go all the way. I think is it Norway all the way up in the north?
Yeah.
Norway's the furthest north, and then Sweden.
Norway,
and then Finland, and Finland, and the ends of the far eastern parts are up in the Arctic.
Yes,
because they drop down like dangling penises. And I'm not calling it, but they are.
Oh, I forgot to bring them.
No, but like this thing right here, your fish. Okay,
yes, it's the dangling fish. That looks like Sweden.
Up atop, that's
that dangling.
That's
fish.
Norway, Sweden, and Finland's like this.
Yeah, they just dangle.
Come like this, and then there's Russia. In the far eastern part, Kaliningrad and all that stuff. Oh, I dropped the fish. What happened was I'm watching all the teams from the U.S., the World Cup. I didn't say U.S. because very well. The World Cup. And as you go further north, there's more brunettes, which is counterintuitive, right? Because when you go south, you see that. But when you go farther north, when Inuits are almost all brunettes,
yes,
right?
I was going to say that.
When you go further up, and the Laps, LAPP,
yeah,
the people in the indigenous people of Northern Europe, far Northern Europe, have dark hair.
Yes,
so it goes from. It's really kind of strange if you think about that. So people would think a paler people would have less. Hair color
pigment.
And it goes up and gets darker. And it gets darker when you go south. When you get to Italy and all that
right
stuff.
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
How the hell we're still talking about traveling and all that stuff?
I know, right? But you gotta
okay,
travel.
so I spent hours trying to with the. I mentioned I wanted to get an automatic because I don't want to concentrate. I can drive a stick.
Right, but you don't do it.
And I love driving. I love it. Who doesn't like it? It's like Grand Theft Auto.
Well, I have a 6-speed, so I get it.
Yeah, no, and you wear flat down here. It's great. You don't have anything, right?
Well, I don't worry about that anyway.
Come on.
That's all I've ever driven.
But isn't it awesome? Isn't it awesome though?
Absolutely.
When you don't have the hills to worry about and stuff like that,
no,
and you don't have to worry about. It's a true shift when you go and you watch your revs and your speed and all that stuff.
The annoying part is standstill traffic up in Miami.
That's
the annoying.
That would be the only thing that's irritating.
Then you just leave it in gear and you just clutch, and that's it.
Yeah, I know. But when you're driving in a town when there's roundabouts, like Poland, they got roundabouts, the traffic circles, and you think, oh, you're shifting and doing that at the same time. You lose all coordination.
Well,
you lose all the coordination, all the skills you had.
And then what happens if you go out to a bar?
It's not.
Well, no, you don't drink. You know where we have the .08?
Yeah.
They have no tolerance, no. It
depends on the country, right? But
Poland's they don't do that. They don't do that. You don't. They're drunk drivers. Whenever you see videos, you go on YouTube. Just last week, a Polish guy took a Soviet era tank and went on a joyride to town. To a T. I think it was a T-72. If I have my correct, I was pretty good with military history, but it's not. T-72 was one of the later tanks. They're right before they broke up, and he went on a joyride and got busted for driving a tank through the town. But it's usually like lawnmowers, or they get crazy to get into front end loaders or bulldozers, and they start fucking around with stuff. Especially Russia. Everyone has. We're in the similar neighborhood as Russia, but Poland is not lawless like that. Normally, you don't normally get a guy driving a tank. Then they're pretty good, and they're you don't fuck around with those people. They got the same. Their police are as serious as ours are, and when you get to the airport, they still have the soldiers in the airport.
So, are you going to like Central?
Well, we fly into Central, and then we go to the southeastern part. We're going to the Ukrainian border.
I was going to say, because she's very, like, Abby and Sky are both fair. So I would think...
Sky isn't. Sky's brunette. Yeah. No, and so's Abby. And they have those. They have those in Poland. They're not...
Yeah, well, I mean, it was kind of known.
And now, like I said, when you get down the Carpathian Mountains and stuff like that, you start getting more swarthier people down there. I'm from Hungary. I mean, I have some Hungarian... and German,
right,
and Irish. So we got the freckles when I was young, and then we actually.
But your hair was light when you were young, right?
And I had darker hair. And when I was a baby, I had blonde hair.
Yeah,
and I had very dark brown hair. Right before it started going gray, so.
But it got.
And I'll be posting a picture on episode 185. There will be a picture of I think it's a 1-year-old. Jim Horan with his sister in my pre-enlistment suit.
That's cool.
They used to dress little boys up in Navy uniforms. Why? I mean, they don't put them in Army uniforms, but they always used to put them in little Navy uniforms.
I'll have to send you a 2-year-old picture of Jenna that looks like a 1-year-old because I've always been a midget. But yeah.
Well, you can tell with looking at babies how immature. So back to the car rental. I'm looking for a right sized car. I didn't want to get something too big for several reasons. First of all, I didn't want to pay a lot of fucking money for it, and second of all, because gas is so expensive.
Right, but the automatic is more expensive, right? Than the manual.
Yeah, automatic's a little more expensive. But I had a problem with the payment going through, and I tried to talk to the booking site, but the booking site wasn't where the problem was. It wasn't where the final receipt of the payment was going. So I called Poland. And I realized that Crash Course in Polish wasn't going to work. No. And the persons must have started 2 years earlier on their English and with the same gusto as I did, because I was talking to her and she knew how to say hello and her name. And then I started explaining payment. Well, my payment was frozen, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, I don't understand what you're saying. And like that. And I go...
you had to be like,
I said, whatever the word for wife in Polish is, Polska. And I said, call you back. And I was able to go back to the booking site, and they did
translation in a way.
They did the translation, did the rebooking.
So you
for
had
me.
Taken care of.
I said I had to go. I canceled out that one and then rebooked it, and I realized I said, well, I did it before. I was able the first time I met Abby. She said she was going over to Poland, and she says, you want to come over? And I said, yeah, and she gave me the town and all that stuff, and I bought a ticket, and she was surprised by it. Well, we started dating like 2 months before.
How expensive is that ticket? Just like a round-trip flight for one person?
Back in 2009, it was around $900 to crack off.
Yeah.
And then the price slowly crept off, and then it was kind of like $1,300.
Yeah.
But there must have been a sale because I was on Just Fly, and we got all our tickets for like $930. But then they started. You had to, the picking the seat. They started nickel and diming it. But it's pretty much pretty close, and we're going in. I'm going into the regional. It's cheaper than I did the last flight for all of us 3 years ago because the National Airlines of Poland, LOT, is flying directly from Miami now. So we don't have to go to Germany.
Yeah, you don't have
to
layover.
I didn't have to worry about the layover and shit like that because, you get in another country and you got to start talking to a ticketing agent. That's their native language is in English and German.
German.
Abby and I, her Polish and English and my English aren't going to trump someone's German person's thing. If we get stuck in Germany and going on a different airline, right? Well, Lufthansa is Lufthansa is really good at Lufthansa is very good at doing it, but we're on LOT, so we have a short layover, and I figure we get stuck. We're on the same airline, and Abby she's Polish,
right?
So we're going to be, hey, you guys were late getting us in, and we didn't make the connection. Okay, and they go, yeah, go. Yeah, we'll have you next time. We give you, they may give us we spend a night in Warsaw. But the worst things you could do.
Right.
But I'm pretty good with the packing stuff. You got to do, and when you're going over Europe, what do you need to do? You got to bring over your.
You have to bring over your
plug.
Your electrical plugs. Yeah.
Your electric plug. I was just going to bring one, and a power strip.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. See, if you, she'll have the hairdryer and all that stuff. She has that stuff over there. But it's only for electronics, so it's not drawing a lot of power. It's no more. It's not like it's 1/3 of a refrigerator.
Right. It's not like you're running a coffee
Yeah. So
maker.
we can put everything on one power strip.
Well, and that's when you get the power strips with like 2 plugs and then 4 USBs.
Yeah.
So
actually, she has the European USB plugs.
Okay.
So that works for the thing. So all I need to get is one for my Chromebook. Because the Chromebook doesn't use a USB.
Yeah. No.
Why the Universal Service Bus? Why don't everyone use that now? I don't fucking know. Because they have to be. Well,
I don't know.
Well, it does charge up. It does charge up in about 15 minutes.
Well, that's nice, though.
Yeah. So, and it lasts for about 15 hours. So, I mean, maybe I don't even need it. Who knows? But I was packing. I was pretty much packed 3 weeks ago. I just threw my suit, my shaving kit. I got a medium-sized bag for 2 weeks.
Well.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty. I think you'd be able to.
Laundry and stuff like that while you're
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got enough change. How much you need? I mean, I could pack a bigger suitcase, and I may have to bring something back because I got to bring, there's people that are doing favors for me, and I want to bring souvenirs back. So I'll do the souvenirs. Maybe I'll leave clothes. I'll leave my shitty clothes behind. I'll donate them to the Polish Goodwill, whatever they got. The Salvation Army. That's international, right?
One thing
what
that I collect, you could just fit in your pocket.
Condoms, got it.
Refrigerator magnets. I like refrigerators.
Well, you know what the thing is? In different countries, I guess they do. That's something they'd have in the airport.
The airport. Yep.
Oh, that's the easy. Oh my God.
I'm the easiest one ever because
I know Tyler. It's just some liquor. Oh, and I won't bring you any of the. I get all the marijuana liquor I can get. It's Slovakia and all that stuff. It has a picture of it on it. So you're not going to get that. I'm going to get the regular stuff. Yeah. There's no hidden. The nice thing about it, when it has marijuana,
they put a picture of the leaf.
They have a picture of the leaf.
Yeah.
So do they have like?
They have marijuana chocolate.
Well, I was talking about that. But,
you want some marijuana chocolate?
Because I am a World War II history buff, I would think that's something like. Are you?
Oh, we're going to go to Auschwitz. We're going to go to salt mines.
We're going to Auschwitz.
Yeah. See, Krakow was not a hotbed activity. Like I said, there was one of the only cities, because it's virtually untouched by bombing. There was no occupation. I don't know why they didn't. I guess where it was in the center of activity, that when the movement, it was so far behind the lines of German occupation that there was virtually nothing they needed to do. So they didn't put any major units in there, and when there's no major units in there,
then you
don't need to bomb it because they were.
But like Warsaw had the ghettos.
Warsaw was destroyed.
Right.
Warsaw was destroyed.
And then they had the Warsaw ghettos.
Warsaw was destroyed because that's where the Germans and the Russians were coming directly into contact through Warsaw. That was, the Germans retreated when Warsaw started falling. They moved out of Krakow, and the Russians.
You have to take a ton of pictures because I speak German, but I've never been to Germany.
Yeah.
So anything that's like.
There was virtually the only things that were probably untouched in Germany, like Berkestadt, the winter, the summer retreat of the Nazis, but all the industrial areas were totally destroyed. Yeah. So all the old cathedrals and all that stuff were. But if you want to get any medieval history and stuff like that, Krakow is the place to go. And they got this underground salt mine where they have a little church that's carved out of salt.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, you go and all the walls are salt and all that stuff. I don't know. I imagine you're fucking tour guide and the doctor says, "Oh, listen, you're gonna have to give up salt." He says, "Well, you're probably kind of fuckers. It's a tour guide in a salt mine, so they're pretty much done."
He's done for.
Yeah. But that's what I had to deal with today, and it was I was stressful. And Sky asked me, "Daddy, are you excited for going to Poland?" I said, "Nah, I'm not." And she goes, "Why?" And I go, "Don't you want to go?" I said, "I don't." I may have mentioned this before. I don't want to pre-play my trips in my head.
Yeah, because you don't want to be disappointed.
No, I don't want to have plans.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't want to have plans. When I go to a new place, why the fuck you should have a plan? Everything you experience is something new to you. Yeah. So does it really matter? They go, "Hey, we're going to go on a rafting trip in Slovakia." Okay, so what?
All right,
let's go. Let's go.
Right.
We're going to go to this restaurant. They have a local band playing. They're mountain people, and they wear their. Let's go. Well, Abby said, "My nephew's getting married in Poland." I'm like, someone said the nephew is getting married, and let's say they're going to say it's in Sheboygan, and I go, "Oh God, I mean, you know what? That would be fun." Sheboygan would be fun. But you say it's in Poland? I'm going to a Polish wedding in Poland? Yes, I'm there.
I want to experience something.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, that's like the couple times Jenna took me up to Wisconsin and Minnesota. We didn't have any plans. We just...
No.
Yeah, you never... Someone's taking... It's like people are fundamentally like dogs. You take them,
you're excited.
You're excited. You go, "Oh my God, this is so great! I'm going someplace." As long as it's not like you go to a vet and all of a sudden you see the thing, you're getting neutered.
So, and the funny thing for her is, we get off the airplane, we're in the rental car, and we're driving, and she won't let me drive.
No, because he does not know the roads there.
Yeah.
And
what's it icy?
She saw me.
No, but it's. You have to think that Minneapolis, St. Paul is like two Miamis right next to each other.
Oh shit, we're at 20.
Oh, are we at 20?
28 minutes, aren't we?
Oh, okay.
Wait.
What? We can
pick this back up in a few seconds.
We can take a
28 minutes. We're going to take a pause right here.
Take a pause.
We're going to be right back, folks. I know this is kind of. We're getting new to this. You're with us.
You know what?
You're with us. We're going to talk about Wisconsin.
Chuck Woolery. We'll be back in 2 and 2.
Well, it doesn't matter. We could just be right back. Yeah,
who knows?
That's one. Okay, we're back.
Yeah,
I just got up and grabbed a beer, and Tyler's grabbing one right now.
Yeah.
But you were talking about not letting Tyler drive. See, the nice thing is we could take a little thing back and get...
Because I'm from Minneapolis originally, but I lived in Wisconsin before I came here. And we flew into Minneapolis, right over the border. So... He doesn't know the roads, the highways. That's it's like me driving in Miami. I have no idea where I'm going, and I was not going to be screaming at him about exits. So I was like, "No, I'll drive." So we get to the rental car, and in the passenger seat, and he looks like the most excited puppy dog. Hanging
Is
his
your head out the window?
Half out
No,
the
I'm
window.
glued to the
He's
window.
glued to the window.
And she looks at me and she's like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "There's fucking Christmas trees everywhere."
And he was like, "Christmas trees! There's Christmas trees everywhere!" And I
What
looked,
time of year was it?
September.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
she's like,
And I
"Christmas
looked
trees."
at him,
I
I
also
was
need
like-
lights
and
on
the
trees
air
and
was
stuff
dry.
Like
And it was
Right?
beautiful. It was beautiful. During the day, it was
Yeah.
like 72.
Yeah, dry air.
And then,
72
it's
dry
never
air.
real dry up there.
Doesn't get dry. It's kind of
It's
moist.
the land of
Lakes.
10,000 lakes, so it's a little moist. It's a little damp. But so he's ranting about these Christmas trees, and I'm driving him by the Mall of America, leaving the airport. I'm like, what is he
Right off the
talking
freeway.
about? I was like, what Christmas tree? I'm looking for trees with lights on them.
Oh, yeah.
And finally, I realized he saw all the pine trees.
Yeah, the pine trees.
He calls every single pine tree
Christmas trees.
a Christmas tree.
Well, you know what? That's down here when I lived up. Well, obviously, if you look at trees, you look around, and I guess I'm a tree aficionado. You look at the leaves, you see oak, walnut,
Yeah.
and all those stuff. You see a lot up north, the hardwoods and
you can
stuff.
see the
And you don't
elms.
see those type of hardwoods down here. You
But
have
see
other
pine
hardwoods.
trees up there, and I'm like, "Holy shit!" Like,
Yeah, and the
to
pine
me,
trees
that's
down
I was
here.
like, well, that's
yeah,
a
the pine trees
fir.
down here don't have those
Yeah.
skinny
That shape.
needles.
Even
Right.
like wild grown, they have the Christmas tree shape.
Yeah.
And so to me, they're Christmas trees. I
Yeah,
don't
they
know
are
the
Christmas
fucking
trees.
difference.
So I drove him.
Well, that's the ones they put on like in Washington, in the,
Yeah.
It's like the ones I brought home
Rockefeller
and put in my
Center.
house.
Yeah.
Well, there's like a fir. There's a Douglas fir. I mean, there's all kinds of different pines.
Yeah, and you don't have the option down here. It's like up
Evergreen.
north.
Yeah.
Well, in Philly, you could buy a live one.
Yeah.
When I say a live one, it has the ball and the roots, and you put it in your house, and you don't get a big one, so you can take it and you, as long as it's not super cold.
You can plant it.
Otherwise, you have to put it in a big like half barrel and try to keep it alive in your garage for a while into the ground defrost. But a lot of times they don't. But you give it an old college try to bring it back. And we've had one or two that stayed, and that's a good thing. Down here, there is no option that tree is not unless they create the conifer does not in whatever genus that is, it does not like the heat
See, like I hate
and the soil composition.
having a real Christmas tree. I hate it. I'd rather have a fake Christmas
Is it
tree.
your anti-Christmas thing?
It's not that. It's
Antichrist?
that where we're from, that's when you have house fires. That's the only time that it's dry up there is when it's winter.
Well, you got to remember this time. There, 100 years ago, people used to put fucking candles in their trees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Candles
in a dry
candles in a thing
dry
and
tree.
on a dry tree, and I mean, imagine every so often people go, every so often I was at that party, the big ball, and they had the 20-foot tree, and the Anderson plantation went up so quick.
Yeah.
Because when you see a dry Christmas tree burn, they do
it's like-
they do the bonfire.
Yeah, I do them down
they
here.
do. I'm sure to our listeners around the country, they do. What do they do? They collect them and they do a bonfire and stuff like
Well,
that.
Tyler would drive around because people will throw them out on their street. And he would go pick up all the dried out Christmas trees after Christmas, after the
A year and a
first.
half ago, I collected about 22.
And him and Tommy, our friend Tommy, had just this giant bonfire, just burnt trees. And it's like one tree.
Where'd you do it?
In Tommy's house.
Tommy's house, right down the street.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
an open yard.
Yeah.
All that kind of stuff.
Got a
Well,
big
we would
fire
cut the
pit.
branches off, burn the branches, and we'd throw the logs on. Like, it never got completely crazy. But there were a few times that I threw a whole tiny tree on
They'll
there.
go
and
up quick.
I know that would say
I love
that
it.
is.
That's why I hate having a
It's
real
almost
tree
like
in my
firework.
house.
I'm a pyro, so
He is a little bit of a
Yeah.
pirate.
Well, who isn't at heart, really?
you know.
When you get, I mean, we have a wait. What a wonderful segue. Phantom fireworks right up the.
I know. Buy
Key
one,
Largo.
get one free, or buy one 50%.
We did have another show about this, and this is in Pennsylvania. They have the same thing. That same company. This is what they do. It's illegal to buy fireworks in the state, but you're able to sell them in state to people that aren't from that state. And in Florida, there's an agricultural waiver because people use some of them to scare off birds that feed on their crops.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, they do that. It scares them all, makes them nervous. Fire a couple bottle rockets at them and stuff like that. It's a real thing. You sign it and says you're going to be using for agricultural uses. Fireworks for agricultural uses.
See, this is funny because...
I mean, imagine if you had to sign something like that if you went to the Lover's Boutique. You know what I mean?
But down here now, you are no longer allowed to set them off at your property unless you get a permit.
You were never allowed to set them off your property.
But you are able to set them off of your vessel if you forewarn the Coast Guard that you're lighting fireworks off of your vessel.
At a residence, you're not allowed to. And, and many of the states that sell them, So when you go south of the border, I don't know if South Carolina is one of the states where they can have them, but you always used to have them when you had the fireworks thing, and you always used to see this motherfucker sitting there, people walking in there with a cigarette. How much of an asshole are you to walk into
gas pump.
Yeah.
Well, wait. You know what? The gas pump, yes. It's very rare that would happen. You know what the weird thing is? Static electricity now. Yeah. Cell phones.
Yeah, that's been a long time since that popped up as a myth, and Mythbusters actually busted that.
Oh, that didn't happen?
No.
Well, there was a lady on Florida Keys Local, like the Facebook site, who posted something that she said that she bought fireworks, just like one of those cheapy packs, like those multi-packs.
Well, they sell those little, the snakes and fireworks.
She bought them at Publix, and then she was cited by the police for letting them off. She was like, how is it illegal to let off the fireworks that I bought down the street at Publix?
And in Publix, yeah. You didn't have to. If you don't have to sign a waiver, then it's... I know.
It's a gray area.
Now, mind you,
Oh.
I don't appreciate anybody lighting off fireworks anywhere in our canal because we have a tiki hut.
Hey, since we have about 10 minutes, I got to tell you about incidents.
Tell me about
an incident.
It
did not involve anyone here.
Okay.
Other than me. But Abby, Sky, and I are at the art walk. And we're at on Thursday night.
Thursday night, yeah.
And we're coming back. I had a couple craft beers at the Florida Keys. The only one I'm going to mention because they're not advertising, but I like supporting local business. Florida Keys Brewing Company. And so Abby was going to drive, and she's driving back. And on the way back, we're right at mile marker. It don't mean anything to our listeners, but in front of Divers Direct, we're heading north. Okay. We hear a screech of tires, and then bang, we get hit from behind.
Oh.
Not enough. No one got hurt. And there was little to no damage to the vehicle. But it was enough where you heard bang.
Right.
You heard it bang. You're like, God, the bumpers are good, man. I'll tell you that.
In your car?
But we couldn't tell in the Equinox, Abby's Equinox. And we didn't know which vehicle what it was. And we started pulling over immediately. I thought it was this white truck to the left of me and all that stuff. And I should have known because that white truck would have really did a number on the... It had to be a car of same size or a little smaller. Upon reflection, but this was only like 5 seconds later. We pull over to this gas station, the Valero.
Valero, right there by the
there's
America.
This road, and I don't have to mention a road, but it's Laguna.
Yep.
And it's a road that dead ends. It's all these roads in the Keys. There's no side streets where you can go and just take off, but sometimes you can get around like a couple streets and come out.
Yeah.
And I thought this person, they must be from out of the area. And they must, I didn't know until after a van followed us in to the gas station. And it was this vacationing family from Pennsylvania. And they said they saw the whole thing. And they told us it was a blue Nissan. Right? I'm not going to say the lady's name.
Okay.
Because finally we found out who it is. And obviously I gave it away.
Right.
I gave away the whole story. They said that person turned down Laguna. And I said, wow, okay. And here, like a dipshit, I think that person's going to come out. So I'm standing there. I'm calling Monroe County. This is, obviously, right after something that happens, your time perception slows down. It seemed like 5 minutes. I'm sure it was like 2 minutes.
Right.
I call Monroe County. A minute. I thought it took over 5-6 minutes, but it probably, like I said, was 2 minutes. A minute later, I get a call from a Monroe County Sheriff's deputy, And he's heading towards me. He says, "Where are you?" And I told him where I was, blah, blah, blah. And he was like a couple hundred miles south of me. A couple hundred yards south of me. A couple hundred miles south.
It was in the
It'd be
Tortugas.
It was in Cuba. Yeah. It's in Cuba. No, a couple hundred yards south, heading north. And then all of a sudden, the people from the van go, "Hey, there they are. Coming on Laguna." They make the right turn right in front of me. And I'm waving at the person. Just pull over and we can let this go by the wayside, and stuff like that. They go and blow by. And then I get on the phone. I said, they just went by us, blue Nissan. And they go, 3 cars ahead of you. And the lights go on. Boom. They get them at the Circle K.
Ooh, that was
quick.
quick.
At the Circle K, yeah.
Yep.
And then we drive and they said, "Come on up here." And we come up there. And the people from Pennsylvania came up and gave a statement.
That's cool.
It was so nice. It was so nice. And you know what the thing about it? I wouldn't have, if we had stopped right after that, I would have looked at it and said, you got to watch what you're doing. I know you were speeding and stuff like that. It could have been serious if you was someone, you didn't have enough time to stop.
Right.
And that could have been a person, or a bike or something you could have hit. And you would have killed them.
Yeah.
You would have killed them. But then when they left, it was like, fuck you. Oh. Fuck you and the a-hole. And I was like, and they didn't charge them. And I didn't make a big deal about it because we got them caught. They had an expired license and they had an expired plate.
And they didn't get hauled in?
No.
That's
they must have known. They must have known them. And I don't know if the sheriff's deputy knew I had a podcast or anything like that, but I did tell him I was in the Rotary. And I will be talking to the thing. But those guys did a good job. Those guys, there was a sergeant there and stuff like that. And the way he explained it to me, she came back to the site, and I said, "Well, she went by the site of the accident. She went by the site of the accident with no intention of stopping, unless she meant her intention was to stop 200 yards north. 200 miles. What are yards a mile? See, I'm going on a long vacation, and everything's further. I'm thinking, Poland's not that far away.
So it was a local, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah. I'm not going to give her name up.
I know. I knew what you were. Yeah.
I'm not going to give her a name.
No.
You know what? And she was upset. You know what? And you should have had a car. Plate should have been registered too.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I think we may have ran into her at the supermarket. We'll probably see her. She probably comes into my place of work and stuff like
probably.
that. I know where she works and stuff. We're not going to sue you. Yeah. We're not going to do any of that stuff. You know what, though? You run into somebody, stop. And if you were drinking, too bad.
But there's no damage to my car. There's no damage to your car.
Yeah, well, if you stopped the first time, you would have gotten, she didn't know. You wouldn't. And then here's the kicker. This is the jewel in the crown. I didn't mention this to you. About 6-7 months ago, Sky was coming back from a basketball game or basketball practice with her teammate and driving in her father's car.
And she was in an accident.
Yes.
Yep.
It was within 50 yards of where we got in an accident. And Sky said when I got back in the car, she goes, "I don't like that area, US 1. The only 2 accidents Sky's ever been in. And it was only the second accident I've ever been in. And Sky's been in 2 in less than a year within 50 yards of each other. My 2 is 1,400 miles apart.
Jeez.
Down here, people are the same all over.
People complain about,
and they complain about people that travel.
Locals are just as bad.
Yes. When they say people and something, and you see them, you see the locals making a left turn from the right lane to pull into the gas station because they have to get their fucking cigarettes or beer or whatever or their ticket. You're an asshole. Go and make a U-turn because there's never a place, unless you're like on a 7-mile bridge, that you can't make a U-turn within a half a mile. Maybe right at the Hilton. No, that's a half a mile. It's about a half mile.
Right there at Wendy's, you can make a U-turn.
No, I'm talking about like when you're heading south. Like,
gotcha, yeah.
You know where that stretch of road? It's about a half mile. Yeah. The longest you have to go south is a half a mile. So you know what? Take 2 minutes out of your life and save a life.
Yep.
Okay, we're at 44 minutes. We can go on to the. We could just sign up. We're going to mention again. What do you got? You got something?
Oh no, I was work.
Okay, same. Okay, if you have something new, we can go and Save it up. I'm not going to talk about the Polish trip or anything after that. I got all my shit packed and all that stuff.
You're pre-packed.
I'm pre-packed.
You're like a prepubescent girl.
Yeah, I know
so
now. Right now, I don't have to bring all my.
Vacation.
I don't have to bring like any cold stuff because
Is this why you're wearing a tank top today? Because you packed all your other clothes?
No, I'm showing off my tattoo. My tattoo.
I figured it's because
look how good it looks. Look how good it looks.
It does look awesome.
Yeah,
it does.
My two swords. People say, "Is that because?" I said, "Well, I'm an ex-gangbanger, and my swords are pointing down."
Like I gave up my
life crime,
my red or blue bandana,
my colors. Yeah,
right. Gave up my colors.
I'm
but
not a
I still
crip
got
anymore.
I still got my ink.
So I don't stink. I don't know if that's a saying. Once again, we probably say it. I hope we do get. If you do, let's. Oh, I want to say hello to Michelle and that fellow. Man, he's on this Insanity podcast. Did I tell you? I talked about Michelle with. Welcome to my show.
You talked.
You're
about
welcome to
my
show, Michelle. But this fella does this show called the Anxiety podcast, and he talks about PTSD and anxiety and talks about meditation. Oh. And the guy is excellent, very, very forthright.
I don't think
he talks about his stuff. And you know what? And I don't, and this wasn't a trade-off or anything like that. I just like to recognize brilliance. And I'm not even going to tell him that I said that. Well, you know what? I probably am. Well, I'm going to say I recognize it. And it's Anxiety, and it's spelled ANXZENITY. And it's a podcast, and it is excellent. The guy speaks from the heart. And
that's really cool, though.
Yeah, he does. And he always is about PTSD, anxiety, and people that have
a serious issue. They've given you something to go to or some advice about how to.
Yeah,
the meditation idea is probably amazing.
I have anxiety issues, but I don't have the anxiety issues of other people with PTSD. I understand that. Mine's run-of-the-mill ones where I'm going to stay in a house for like 3 days or a week or 2 weeks. I could. When my girls first went away, I didn't realize when the last time they went, the year before they went to Poland. One time they went to Poland without me, and I just was a wreck.
Yeah.
I was a wreck. And this time, I'm going with them. I've dealt with it. I knew that happened. I didn't know that was a trigger because when you become close to somebody and you get regular, you'd be surprised. And it happens at different times for people. It happens to young people and old people and all those things. Mine's not as serious because I have coping mechanisms to deal with. But if you do have a problem, check out Anxiety podcast. It's wonderful. And if you get the chance, give us a review on iTunes, Spotify, and all that. And we'd like to thank Spreaker,
iHeartRadio,
the Turd Burglar.
The Turd Burglar.
There's no Turd Burglar thing. So
don't forget to Google the Turd Burglar and give us a review.
I think there probably is a podcast called the Turd Burglar. There's 100,000 of them.
And we're just one. There are many like it.
It's like stars in the sky. But what we happen to have, it's 188 episodes. So
perfect.
Yes, and there's other ones I see. They're like a guy was showing 300. He goes, "There's no way you have fucking 300 episodes."
He's just got a lot.
Not this guy. Not Anxiety. No, this other one. I'm going. Holy shit! You got 300 episodes?
Maybe he just has more time on his hands.
Mm. And someday,
some people do this stuff every day.
You know what? I think we're in a rarefied area right here. So we're gonna. Oh, we went blank. That doesn't mean we lost your signal and stuff like that. It just means my screen time's out. I just got to see that green bar popping up. You know what I mean? Like a frequent boner. What can I say? I'd like to thank you on that. And there's an ending note right there. It's just popping up.
Your green bar pops up like
your green
boner.
Bar. If you were
and that you tune into episode 189, which will be the next.
Yes. Well, unless I screw it up and I put this one as 189.
I mean, the thing's plugged in.
What do they call this one? Oh,
this is the
shoes on the other hand.
Yeah.
Okay. The condoms on the other toe. How about that? That's a reference to the with 40-year-old virgin. It's a big toe. Okay.
The big toe.
Thank you very much. And
have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you next episode.
Yes.